Is this it? Can you hear me now? I don't know what's going on. Anyways, I said thank you guys for joining us tonight, watching the debates. We're super honored that you feel comfortable enough with us to even trust us to like dissect half of this information. I'm telling you, it's like a really humbling experience. I was talking to my husband about it yesterday. Um, Sorry, I got caught up in the comments. I had was talking to my husband yesterday because I've had a lot of people, younger conservatives, talk to me in my inbox and tell me how much I've inspired them to be able to speak out finally and feel comfortable doing so. So it's like it's really humbling. It's extremely humbling to um, just inspire people to do their own research or just learn for themselves and don't just take things at face value. It's important to get out there and know exactly what you're facing so that you won't be set up for the okie doke. That's how I feel. So the fact that I can reach the younger generation, it's amazing. It feels so good. I feel like I've fulfilled somewhat of my purpose. Like this is what we're all here for, to just live life, experience it, and help the next generation. So if I can help the next generation wake up, I'm here for that. I'm here for that. But before these debates start, okay, Hunter Biden's former associate. This is a guy that used to work with him. His name is Tommy Boblinsky. He made a statement a few hours ago, and he's going to give the FBI three of his phones that have information that link Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, China, money, all together. Everything that Hunter did, and Joe says he wasn't involved. The big man, or wait, the big guy, he's got a nickname in emails. Big guy's been doing some dirty dealings. I'm gonna show you guys. It's about 8 minutes or so. Let me see. I gotta take this off full screen first. Money laundering too. This is cray cray. Anyways, here goes the clip, guys. Check this out. Yo, what's up?
Good evening. My name is Tony Bobulinski. I served as a lieutenant in the United States Navy with high security clearance. My father and grandfather both served for decades in our country's armed forces. Since leaving the Navy, I've been involved in various successful businesses, both in this country and abroad. I'm making this statement to set the record straight about the involvement of the Biden family, Vice President Biden, his brother Jim Biden, and his son Hunter Biden in dealings with the Chinese. I've heard Joe Biden say that he's never discussed business with Hunter. That is false. I have firsthand knowledge about this because I directly dealt with the Biden family, including Joe Biden. I have also heard that Vice President Biden said on Tuesday that Senator Ron Johnson, the chair of the Senate Homeland Security Committee, should be ashamed for suggesting that Biden family sought to profit from their name. Well, here are the facts I know, and everything I'm saying is corroborated by emails, WhatsApp chats, agreements, documents, and other evidence. And the American people can judge for themselves. I brought, I guess, for record, 3 phones that spanned the years 2015 through 2018. These phones have never been held by anybody else besides myself. I was told this past Sunday by somebody who was also involved in this matter that if I went public this information, it would bury all of us, man. The Bidens included. I have no wish to bury anyone. I've never been political. The few contributions I have made have been to Democrats. But what I am is a patriot and a veteran. To protect my family name and my business reputation, I need to ensure that the true facts are out there. In late 2015, I was approached by James Gilliar, whom I had known for many years, about joining him in a deal which he said would involve the Chinese state-owned enterprise, CEFC China Energy, and what he called one of the most prominent families in the United States. I was informed first by Gilliar and then by Hunter Biden and by Rob Walker, who was working with the Bidens, that the Bidens wanted to form a new entity with CFC, which was to invest in infrastructure, real estate, and technology in the US and around the world. And the entity would initially be capitalized with $10 million and then grow to billions of dollars of investment capital. After months of discussion, I agreed at Gilliar and Hunter Biden's request to become CEO of the entity to be called Sinohawk. Sino representing the Chinese side, Hawk representing Hunter Biden's brother Beau's favorite animal. And between February and May 2017, we exchanged numerous emails, documents, and WhatsApp messages concerning Sinohawk and its potential business. On May 2nd, 2017, the night before Joe Biden was to appear at the Milken Conference, I was introduced to Joe Biden by Jim Biden and Hunter Biden. At my approximately hour-long meeting with Joe that night, we discussed the Biden's history, the Biden's family business plans with the Chinese, with which he was plainly familiar, at least at a high level. After that meeting, I had numerous communications with Hunter, Walker, Gilliar, and Jim Biden regarding the allocation of the equity ownership of Sinohawk. On May 13, 2017, I received an email concerning allocation of equity, which says 10% held by H for the big guy. In that email, there's no question that H stands for Hunter, big guy for his father, Joe Biden, and Jim for Jim Biden. In fact, Hunter often referred to his father as the big guy or my chairman. On numerous occasions, it was made clear to me that Joe Biden's involvement was not to be mentioned in writing, but only face-to-face. In fact, I was advised by Gilliar and Walker that Hunter and Jim Biden were paranoid about keeping Joe Biden's involvement secret. I also had a disagreement with Hunter about the funds CFC was contributing to Sinohawk. Hunter wanted $5 million of those funds to go to himself and his family, so he wanted the funds wired directly to an entity affiliated with him. I objected because that was contrary to our written agreements concerning Sinohawk. He said, referring to the chairman, his father, that CFC was really investing in the Biden family, that he held the Trump card, and that he was the one putting his family legacy on the line. He also said to me on May 17th, 2017, that CFC wanted to be my partner, to be partner with the Bidens. During these negotiations, I repeated to Hunter and others that Sinohawk could not be Hunter's personal piggy bank. And I demanded that proper corporate governance procedures be implemented for capital distributions. Hunter became very upset with me. CFC through July 2017 was assuring me the funds would be transferred to Sinohawk, but they were never sent to our company. Instead, I found out from Senator Johnson's September report that the $5 million was sent in August 2017 to entities affiliated with Hunter. Tomorrow, I will be meeting with the Senate committee members concerning this matter, and I will be providing to the FBI the devices which contain the evidence corroborating what I have said. So I will not be taking any questions at this time.
Checkmate. Checkmate. Did you guys hear that? I'm interested to see how the media is going to spin this and make Joe Biden innocent. They've already labeled this as a Russian disinformation campaign because, of course, Russia and the Ukraine, they can't help but meddle in our election. That's just what they do. Man, I'm not interested in hearing about Russia anymore, Democrats. I'm really interested in you just finally telling the truth, right? Biden, go to jail, bro. Matter of fact, he's too old to even be in jail. Except he answered the question. He did. He said, I'm not answering any questions. I don't think he should go to jail because he's really old. But I think that his assets, all his money, in my opinion, public shame would do the trick for him. If he just lost his position altogether in America and you got to start from zero, absolute scratch, yeah, buddy, you need to go back to go and don't collect nothing. I just saw that comment. He's too old for jail. Just like I don't feel like Bill Cosby should be in jail. I don't. They're old as heck. But they need to do some time for their crime. Something needs to happen. Something. Let Hunter do Joe's time. No, Hunter needs to be. He's a pedophile. Joe is a pedophile too. I just completely forgot that. Wow. People like that, I feel like they just need to be. We just need to rid of them. One shot to the head will work. Pedophiles, man. Sleepy Joe got exposed. He's too old to show up for the debate. Democrats won't go to jail, but they will continue to fight against the American people, rights, etc. Yeah. You want to do an app with me? What's an app? Mr. Montgomery? Strip him down to his boomers and dump him off in Los Angeles. I don't know. They might feel a sense of, they might feel bad for him. Be like, oh man, it's okay. America's against you. Put him in a nursing home. I don't even want to be in a nursing home. That's what we're all waiting for. I can't wait to see his face. Of course, they know who's going to be there. Trump made it public, so I'm pretty sure he knows he's going to be there. But I am interested in seeing his reaction. I'm going to be watching that like a hawk. I want to do an app with you, a social media app. Oh. I'm waiting for the other guys. They're getting all dolled up and nice for the show. Tired of Facebook's censorship. Yeah, Facebook sucks. I will agree with that. I am streaming the debate. Yes, I am. I will be streaming it and we will be watching it live. And we'll probably spend about 30, 45 minutes talking about it afterwards. Sorry, I'm getting messages. Did you guys see the 60-minute interview with Trump? Where he showed the unbiased version. This lady asked him the dumbest questions I've ever, just stupid questions, man. She kept trying to get him to slip up on the mask. Well, people don't wear masks at your show. Well, I don't have any issues with the mask. I like the mask. I wear the mask. She kept asking about the mask as if it's just going to change. Where the debates at? I had it pulled up, but that feed stopped. Final debate, NPR. I don't like NPR. Bloomberg, I don't like them either. She was a bitch. Bitch. I guess it would be cool to watch some liberal commentary while we destroy them here on the conservative side. I think that's pretty interesting to do, because that means we can watch it and then call out their BS. Which liberal news source should I use? Right Side Broadcasting? I think I want to go with the left. I don't know. That's a little bit more fun. What do you guys think in the comment section? Let me know. Do me a favor, share this live so that people can tune in and watch with us. Invite all your liberal friends too. I don't discriminate. NBC, CNN. What about, let me see, CNN on here? ABC, NPR. I don't even see CNN. Comical News Network. CNN. Okay. Let me find CNN. Don Lemon had lost his shit because there's so many black people that are deciding to vote for Trump. He lost it. He lost it. They got to be talking about this at CNN. There's no live feeds yet. We're not, it's like, Don Lemon is a fraud. Don Lemonhead, man.
By standing up, by doing anything that would bring you into. And so please, don't yell, because you're interfering with what those people are seeing.
Now, there also is a rule on masks. It's not only our rule, it's the rule of the city. It's the rule of this university. So that you must wear a mask to come in, and you must keep your mask on. If you remove your mask while you're here, you will be approached and you'll be asked to put it back on. And if you don't put it back on, you'll be asked to leave. And if you won't leave, you'll be escorted to leave. So, which will cause you some embarrassment and will take time away from the important things that are going on today. One other thing, at exactly 8 o'clock, you're going to hear a lot of noise. Because if you turn around and look behind you, those are the anchor booths of the major networks. And at exactly 8 o'clock, they're all going to go on at the same time. And you're going to hear a lot of voices that you'll recognize from different networks. So don't be surprised.
Is anybody else getting an echo? Is anybody else getting an echo? I just saw that.
And then they'll settle down as we go, and moderator comes out and also says some words. So with that, let me introduce my co-chairman, Ken Wallach. Okay.
Good evening. I join Frank, Janet, and fellow board members, including Yvonne Howe and John Griffin, who are with us tonight, in welcoming you to the 24th presidential debate sponsored and organized by the Commission on Presidential Debates, and the second hosted by Belmont University. As the newest co-chair of the commission, I'm proud to work alongside dedicated board members and a talented staff and crew who, against uphill odds, have built a nonpartisan institution since the commission was established in 1987. Our sole mission continues to be the holding of debates that serve and inform the American people. Now, please spare me a moment to explain the commission's efforts. Debates have evolved over the past 3 decades. More transparent criteria for qualification of debate participants, the trend toward a single moderator in order to focus greater attention on the candidates, and the allocation of time for different subject areas are but a few of the many changes that have been made. Many of the details for organizing the debates are left to agreement by the candidates themselves. The commission has selected the times and places for debates, the moderators, and the debate formats. Based on experience, these are issues that, if left to the negotiations between the candidates' campaigns, are nearly impossible to resolve in a timely manner. In fact, it were protracted and at times unworkable negotiations on these types of issues that led, in part, to the establishment of the commission itself. While there is always drama every 4 years, and this year is no exception. The process has worked. And post-debate research shows that the American people have considered these debates an important part of our political process. Debates have also created civic education opportunities for the schools and
Okay, I have CNN up here. I'm hoping CNN does not interrupt at all in this entire process so that we can watch full debate. But I think it'll be really fun to watch this on the on the left. I want to see what they're saying.
In their vote are the economy and COVID. Obviously, those two things are tied together. I want to start with Trump first because I think the onus is on him to make something different happen. Is there a Trump economic message that can come through? There will be a discussion of the economy, hopefully a robust one tonight. Is there a message that can break through? I'm not saying he's going to change the race, he's going to suddenly go from behind to ahead, but is there a message that, from your perspective watching this, could actually work to persuade people?
Well, the message that he has been hammering home, which may work, is essentially, remember how great things were before we screwed everything up, right? He talks about how low unemployment was pre-COVID. He talks about gangbusters growth, which actually we didn't have. Growth was not perceptibly higher under Trump than it was in the second Obama term. But this is the narrative that he weaves, and this is the story that he repeats over and over again, and people seem to believe it, right? They think that that we did have the greatest economy ever because Trump says it frequently enough. So as long as he can continue to persuade people that he personally built the greatest economy ever, now there are a lot of falsehoods in that sentence that I just said, but if he can persuade people of that, it may be effective. And it may be useful for him, for example, to point to what's going on in the rest of the world, right? For a while, it looked like we were doing much worse than Europe in terms of containing COVID, which would also translate to potentially a slower economic recovery. The rest of the world, or at least Europe, is doing a little bit worse than they were before. So maybe people won't lay the blame at Trump's feet for not only COVID, but of course, the economic fallout of COVID. So I think that's the story he's going to have to tell. He's going to say, it was great, we can make it great again, and anything that suggests it's not great right now, not my fault.
Okay, I want to just do a little bit of fact check here, because there's this exchange I mentioned earlier. Trump releases 37 minutes of this interview that's going to come on 60 Minutes on Sunday. He releases 37 minutes of it. There's a bit in between he and Leslie Stahl in which he says, we built the greatest economy in the history of the country. And she says, you know that's not true. He said, it is. And they sort of go back and forth. Can you just walk us through briefly? I know why he says it, right? Because everything he feels like everything he does has to be the best, right? It can't be second best. It can't be really good. It can't be better than in Obama, whatever. It has to be the best thing that's ever happened ever. This is the best live stream pre-debate show that has ever been witnessed, right? That's his mentality. But can you just walk us through why that claim, strongest economy in the history of the country, is not accurate? I don't need everything, but just as a little tidbit for our viewers to understand why that's wrong.
Sure. So among other things, as I just mentioned, GDP growth was not substantially different under Trump than it was under Obama. In fact, if you strip out government spending, Trump likes to talk about how Joe Biden, the Democrats, they're the party of big government. In fact, government spending has gone way up under Trump. And that alone is what accounts for the very tiny increase in GDP or higher amount of GDP growth under Trump than under Obama. So if you strip out what happened with federal spending, in fact, they're exactly equal. If you look at what happened to unemployment, yes, unemployment fell under Trump, but it had been falling before he came into office. In fact, if you look at a chart of the unemployment rate, for example, it's basically a straight line. It kind of looks like this. And, you'd be hard pressed to sort of like pinpoint where on the chart it was that Trump came into office.
Oh
the
my
NC plummeted,
God.
And all of a sudden, we had
Are you
this like sudden
serious?
discontinuity.
I can't watch liberal
In fact, on
media.
average,
Oh
more
my
jobs have
God.
been created per month under Trump than
You can't pinpoint when Trump took over. We just don't know.
This is that, in fact, presidents don't control the economy. So I'm not trying to suggest
Presidents don't control the economy.
like Trump.
Nothing presidents do.
I think he did adopt a number of economic policies that were probably not helpful, including the trade wars. But they don't control the economy. But if they did, it's not as if the metrics bear out this claim that it was in fact the greatest economy ever. It was a good economy, no doubt about it. But it was a good economy.
It was a good economy, but he can't say it was great. But it was a good economy. She's a nasty bitch. I don't like watching her.
I always note to people. She said, more Americans are working today. This is pre-COVID. More Americans are working today than ever before. True. There's also a lot more Americans than there were 30 years ago. I mean, so it's true-ish. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So
Send me the link. Send me the link. I'll pull it up. I don't think I'm going to be able to stomach this all day for an hour.
Trump can make the case that the economy was strong pre-COVID. Obviously, to your point, he probably takes too much credit for it, but he can make that case, and he can say we're bouncing back.
Woo! Gang.
On the economy, and I just want to
What's up, Amanda?
the number one
Amanda, please.
in every poll you will find nationally is the economy. We know it's the economy.
Yeah, I can't do this, guys. Can someone please send me the link for
what does Joe Biden say on the economy that
Sam?
you
I mean Savannah
reaches a voter?
talking her shit.
I think his general message, and not just on the economy, is essentially he will listen to experts and he will do what they think is good for controlling coronavirus. And as long as coronavirus is raging, it is in control of the economy. If you look at his actual economic plans beyond coronavirus, right, his tax plans, for example, he massively expands the child tax credit. He has some promises about, made in America kind of stuff that I think are not terribly convincing. Trump made similar promises. Probably they're not going to make much of a difference.
Watching on my TV.
But they may appeal.
Yeah, I cannot do this.
Since the Trump agenda, again,
I can't do this.
and failed, did okay before COVID, did terribly since
Oh.
COVID. So there are elements like that that may have appeal. I'm thinking what else he's talked about.
I'm looking else in there. Okay.
A lot of different things, right? He talks about
Shut your mouth. This news network is like the worst news network on the planet, bro. They fucking suck. I'm not watching that. I can't stomach that.
Is there no? Is it not on Newsmax?
For some reason, it's hard to find the stream, so I'm just gonna use Black Voices for Trump.
Because I think I have it. I have Newsmax.
Okay.
The app. I have the app, but I can't. Only thing we can do is share screen, but I can't do it and this on the phone at the
Let me
same
see.
time.
All right, here we go. Oh my God. I'm telling you, that was really unbearable.
Painful. That was painful.
Woo! I've never
Switching
wanted
off my
somebody to shut
camera.
up so bad. Okay. I have never wanted to oh my God, I wanted to claw my hair out. You just lie. Just lying. Dang, tell the truth. Tell the truth, shame the devil. That's what my mom used to say, my grandma. Tell the truth and shame the devil. Quit lying to these folks.
He is who he is, but there is
dollars from the State Department to rebuild housing in Iraq, and that James Biden, another brother, got $7 million from the Overseas Private Investment Corporation to develop solar energy in the Caribbean. And Hunter Biden and his sister and his brother-in-law, or son-in-law rather, set up a healthcare company that received a lot of government publicity, even though it was a brand new company. So bribery runs in the family here.
Absolutely. We're taking this live picture. Dick, thank you so much. Nashville, Tennessee.
CNN
and the big moment
sucks.
is any second now, 9 o'clock. You know, what's interesting as we bring back here to the panel, we might not technically see many more of these debates. The RNC announcing tonight that they're so upset with how the debate commission has handled this that they might not want to do this again.
Well,
What do you think of
look,
that, Sean?
and-
Is that an empty threat? Yeah.
No, come on.
No,
I
no.
don't-
I think,
4 years
look,
from now.
I think, first of all, there should be fundamental transformation as far as who's on the debate commission.
Yeah.
I think there is a need for a debate commission. The problem is that I believe the two parties should actively every cycle choose who's on it so that it's not legacy
The
people,
leftovers.
right? But at the end of the day, someone needs to be able to broker those rules between the two candidates. It's just who those people are.
I'll
There's
show it
so many
afterwards
debates.
because
It can only happen
they're about
because,
to
like, there's a
start any
reason it came
second
back
now.
to exist in 1984. But I think how it's constructed is important, and how those members are.
I love
You look-
Tuckerson
you look
too.
people, the chairman, Frank Fahrenkopf, was chairman of the RNC, 1988?
That's my nickname for him. I call him
Earlier,
Tuckerson.
Right, and these are people who, God bless them. I'm not. But there's something
All
about
right.
more active in the game and appointed by the current chairs that I
What's
think
up,
makes them
man?
more invested in the game.
How
to
ready
take
for
that.
this debate are you?
Of the campaign.
I had to take some meds so I can handle it. I got some drops. I'm hoping they do something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we have to talk about it after the show.
some drops.
Oh, yeah, we're about to be friends now.
Well, I tried it. I've tried it already before. It doesn't really have an effect. So
It
unfortunately,
doesn't.
No. So, but I'm going to finish it off to see if it just takes time.
Yeah. You know, if they would get a person who would call it straight there, it'd be no problem. Yeah, man. That's facts. But they don't want to because they have to have drama.
But they
I
don't
feel like
see
this,
that they're
this
Trump supporters, though.
they don't. I feel like this is a never-ending episode of Scandal.
And
Like,
they had only the B writer. They had only the B writers on it the week. They wrote all the lines.
B-17. Like, damn, bro. The CIA is the shadow government. Or the FBI in this case. God. My lib friends with gray matter should be so angry at their precious DNC with gray matter. So they're the ones with the brains. Tony Bobulinski is going to be there. I showed that clip earlier to everybody. He got 3 phones. I got 2 phones.
No set time.
It's about to come on.
That solves the problem.
They're a little behind
Solves the
schedule.
problem of any bias on the part of the moderator.
What about the idea that I saw that you have a right?
See, Sherry agrees with me. Girl, this is like Scandal, bro. And I hated Scandal.
You have 2 minutes.
No, 2 minutes. Just talk. No time.
Let's play a drinking game.
Say, here are the topics.
I
don't
think
have
it's
any-
more before the Scandal episode. This was more like House of Cards.
Moderator. It's not
Yeah.
a question-
Uh-oh, here we go.
We're gonna go.
Dun, dun, dun.
Is that Trump that's doing it?
Go ahead.
University in
Oh,
Nashville,
there's
Tennessee.
Corey.
I'm Kristen Welker of NBC News, and I welcome you to
How you doing?
the presidential debate between
What's
President
up, Marlon?
Donald
She
Trump
got a strong
and
jawline.
President Joe
Good
Biden.
Lord.
Tonight's
The
debate
man.
is sponsored by the Commission on Presidential Debates. It is conducted under health and safety protocols designed
That's
by
dope.
the President's Health Security Advisor. The
Gina
audience
Jones
here in the
depends.
hall has promised to remain silent. No cheers, boos, or other interruptions, except right now, as we welcome to the stage former Vice President Joe Biden and President Donald J. Trump.
They always pick the Eurocentric black lady. I don't get it. He looks so lost. Look, zoomed in on his face.
Oh, Joe.
You got it on.
And I do want to say a very good evening to both of you. This debate will cover 6 major topics. At the beginning of each section, each candidate will have 2 minutes uninterrupted to answer the first question. The debate commission will then turn on their microphone only when it is their turn to answer.
Wow.
And the commission will turn it off exactly when the 2 minutes have expired. After that, both
Wow.
microphones
They're
will
treating them
remain
like
on.
toddlers,
But on
man.
behalf of the voters, I'm going to ask you to please speak one at a time. The goal is for you to hear each other and for the American people to hear every word of what you both have to say. And so with that, if you're ready, let's start the fight against the coronavirus. President Trump, the first question is for you.
Oh my God.
Is heading into a dangerous new phase. More than 40,000 Americans are in the hospital tonight with COVID, including record numbers here in Tennessee. And since the two of you last shared a stage, 16,000 Americans have died from COVID. So please be specific. How would you lead the country during this next stage of the coronavirus crisis? 2 minutes, uninterrupted.
So, as you know, 2.2 million people modeled out were expected to die. We closed up the greatest economy in the world in order to fight this horrible disease that came from China. It's a worldwide pandemic. It's all over the world. You see the spikes in Europe and many other places right now. If you notice, the mortality rate is down 85%. The excess mortality rate is way down and much lower than almost any other country. And we're fighting it, and we're fighting it hard. There is a spike. There was a spike in Florida, and it's now gone. There was a very big spike in Texas. It's now gone. There was a very big spike in Arizona. It's now gone. And there are some spikes and surges in other places. They will soon be gone. We have a vaccine that's coming. It's ready. It's going to be announced within weeks, and it's going to be delivered. We have Operation Warp Speed, which is the military is going to distribute the vaccine. I can tell you from personal experience that I was in the hospital. I had it, and I got better. And I will tell you that I had something that they gave me, a therapeutic, I guess they would call it. Some people could say it was a cure. But I was in for a short period of time, and I got better very fast, or I wouldn't be here tonight. And now they say I'm immune. Whether it's 4 months or a lifetime, nobody's been able to say that, but I'm immune. More and more people are getting better. We have a problem that's a worldwide problem. This is a worldwide problem. But I've been congratulated by the heads of many countries on what we've been able to do. If you take a look at what we've done in terms of goggles and masks and gowns and everything else, and in particular ventilators. We're now making ventilators all over the world, thousands and thousands a month, distributing them all over the world. It will go away, and as I say, we're rounding the turn, we're rounding the corner. It's going away.
Okay, former Vice President Biden, to you, how would you lead the country out of this crisis? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
220,000 Americans dead. You hear nothing else I say tonight. Hear this. Anyone who's responsible for not taking control, in fact, not saying I take no responsibility initially. Anyone who's responsible for that many deaths should not remain as president of the United States of America.
That's what you would do.
We're in a situation where there are 1,000 deaths a day now, 1,000 deaths a day. And there are over 70,000 new cases per day. Compared to what's going on in Europe, as the New England Medical Journal said, they're starting from a very low rate. We're starting from a very high rate. The expectation is we'll have another 200,000 Americans dead between now and the end of the year. If we just wore these masks, the president's own advisors have told him, we could save 100,000 lives. And we're in a circumstance where the president thus far and still has no plan, no comprehensive plan. What I would do is make sure we have everyone encouraged to wear a mask all the time. I would make sure we move in the direction of rapid testing, investing in rapid testing. I would make sure that we set up national standards as to how to open up schools and open up businesses so they can be safe and give them the wherewithal, the financial resources to be able to do that. We're in a situation now where the New England Medical Journal, one of the most serious journals in the whole world, said for the first time ever that the way this president has responded to this crisis has been absolutely tragic. And so, folks, I will take care of this. I will end this. I will make sure we have a plan.
President
What is
Trump,
the plan?
I'd like to follow up with you and your comments. You talked about taking a therapeutic. I assume you're referencing Regeneron. You also said a vaccine will be coming within weeks.
Yes.
Is that a guarantee?
No, it's not a guarantee, but it will be by the end of the year. But I think it has a good chance. There are two companies, I think, within a matter of weeks, and it will be distributed very quickly.
Can you tell us which companies?
Johnson & Johnson is doing very well. Moderna is doing very well. Pfizer is doing very well. And we have numerous others. Then we also have others that we're working on very closely with other countries, in particular Europe.
Let me follow up with you, and because this is new information, you have said a vaccine is
It's
coming
not
soon.
new.
Now, your own officials say it could take well into 2021 at the earliest for enough Americans to get vaccinated. And even then, they say the country will be wearing masks and distancing into 2022. Is your timeline realistic?
No, I think my timeline is going to be more accurate. I don't know that they're counting on the military the way I do, but we have our generals lined up, one in particular, that's the head of logistics. And this is a very easy distribution for him. He's ready to go as soon as we have the vaccine. And we expect to have 100 million vials. As soon as we have the vaccine, he's ready to go.
Vice President Biden, your reaction, and just 40% of Americans say they would definitely agree to take a coronavirus vaccine if it was approved by the government. What steps would you take to give Americans confidence in a vaccine if it were approved?
Make sure it's totally transparent. Have the scientists of the world see it, know it, look at it, go through all the processes. And by the way, this is the same fellow who told you this is going to end by Easter last time. This is the same fellow who told you that, don't worry, we're going to end this by the summer. We're about to go into a dark winter. And he has no clear plan, and there's no prospect that there's going to be a vaccine available for the majority of the American people before the middle of next year.
President Trump, your reaction, he says you have no
Didn't
plan.
answer the question.
And at all, we're opening up our country. We've learned and studied and understand the disease, which we didn't at the beginning. When I closed and banned China from coming in heavily infected, and then ultimately Europe, but China was in January. Months later, he was saying I was xenophobic. I did it too soon. Now he's saying, oh, I should have, moved quicker. But he didn't move quicker. He was months behind me, many months behind me. And frankly, he ran the H1N1 swine flu, and it was a total disaster, far less lethal, but it was a total disaster. Had that had this kind of numbers, 700,000 people would be dead right now, but it was a far less lethal disease. Look, his own person who ran that for him, who, as you know, was his chief of staff, said it was catastrophic. It was horrible. We didn't know what we were doing. Now he comes up and he tells us how to do this. Also, everything that he said about the way every single move that he said we should make, that's what we've done. We've done all of it. But he was way behind us.
Vice President Biden, your response.
My response is he is xenophobic, but not because he shut down access from China. And he did it late after 40 countries had already done that. In addition to that, what he did, he made sure that we had 44 people that were in there in China trying to get to Wuhan to determine what exactly the source was. What did the president say in January? He said, no, he said, he's being transparent. The president of China is being transparent. We owe him a debt of gratitude. We have to thank him. And then what happened was we started talking about using the Defense Act to make sure we go out and get whatever is needed out there to protect people. And again, I go back to this. He had nothing. He did virtually nothing. And then he gets out of the hospital and he talks about don't worry, it's all going to be over soon. Come on. There's not another serious scientist in the world who thinks it's going to be over soon.
President Trump, your reaction?
I say over soon. I say we're learning to live with it. We have no choice. We can't lock ourselves up in a basement like Joe does. He has the ability to lock himself up. I don't know. He's obviously made a lot of money someplace, but he has this thing. He can't do that. By the way, I, as the president, couldn't do that. I'd love to put myself in the basement or in a beautiful room in the White House and go away for a year and a half until it disappears. I can't do that. And Kirsten, every meeting I had, meet a lot of families, including Gold Star families and military families. Every meeting I had, and I had to meet them. I had to. It would be horrible to have canceled everything. I said, this is dangerous. And you catch it. And, I caught it. I learned a lot. Great doctors, great hospitals. And now I recovered. 99.9% of young people recover. 99% of people recover. We have to recover. We can't close up our nation. We have to open our school, and we can't close up our nation, or you're not going to have a nation.
And of course, the CDC has said young people can get sick with COVID-19 and can pass it. Vice President Biden,
Right?
about strategy though. You
Can
have
I respond to that?
30 seconds, please,
For
and then
30
I have a
seconds.
question.
No, number one, he says that we're learning to live with it. People are learning to die with it. You folks home will have an empty chair at the kitchen table this morning. That man or wife going to bed tonight and reaching over to try to touch their, out of habit, where their wife or husband was, is gone. Learning to live with it. Come on. We're dying with it because he has never said, he said it's dangerous. When's the last time? Is it really dangerous still? Are we dangerous? You tell the people it's dangerous now? What should they do about the danger? And you say, I take no responsibility.
30 seconds, right?
Excuse me, I take full responsibility. It's not my fault that he came here. It's China's fault. And you know what? It's not Joe's fault that he came here either. It's China's
Look at
fault.
Joe's
They kept it from
face.
going into the rest of China for the most part, but they didn't keep it from coming out to the world, including Europe and ourselves.
Vice President Biden.
Fact is that when we knew it was coming, when it hit, what happened? What did the president say? He said, don't worry, it's going to go away. Be gone by Easter. Don't worry. The warm weather. Don't worry. Maybe inject bleach. He said he was kidding when he said that, but a lot of people thought it was serious. A whole range of things the president has said. Even today, he thinks we are in control. We're about to lose 200,000 more people.
President Trump.
Look, perhaps just to finish this, I was kidding on that, but just to finish this, when I closed, he said I shouldn't have closed. And that went on for months. What Nancy Pelosi said the same thing. She was dancing on the streets in Chinatown in San Francisco. But when I closed, he said, this is a terrible thing. You're xenophobic. I think he called me racist even. And because I was closing it to China. Now he says I should have closed it earlier. It just, Joe, it doesn't work.
I didn't say either of those things.
You
I didn't
certainly
say should have
did.
called
You
Pelosi,
certainly
and I
did.
I talked about a xenophobia in a different context. It wasn't about closing the border to Chinese coming to the United States.
All right, I want to talk
This
about both
guy.
of your different strategies.
We thought I shouldn't have closed the border.
Well, let's-
That's obvious.
Do you want to respond to that quickly, Vice President?
No.
Okay.
Wow.
Let's talk about your strategies toward dealing with this. Mr. Vice President, you suggested you would support new shutdowns if scientists recommended it. What do you say to Americans who are fearful that the cost of shutdowns, the impact on the economy, the higher rates of hunger, depression, domestic and substance abuse outweighs the risk of exposure to the virus?
What I would say is I'm going to shut down the virus, not the country. It's his ineptitude that caused the country to have to shut down in large part.
Wow.
Why businesses have gone under, why schools are closed, why so many people have lost their living, and why they're concerned. Those other concerns are real. That's why he should have been, instead of in a sand trap at his golf course, he should have been negotiating with Nancy Pelosi and the rest of the Democrats and Republicans about what to do about the acts they were passing for billions of dollars to make sure people had the capacity.
But you haven't ruled out more shutdowns.
Well, no, I'm not shutting down the neighborhood, but there are, look, you need
You
standards.
won't answer that.
If you have a reproduction rate in a community that's above a certain level, everybody says, slow up, more social distancing, do not open bars and do not open gymnasiums, do not open until you get this under control, under more control. But when you do open, give the people the capacity to be able to open and have the capacity to do it safely. For example, schools. Schools, they need a lot of money to open. They need to deal with ventilation systems. They need to deal with smaller classes, more teachers, more pods. And he's refused to support that money, or at least up to now.
Let's talk about schools. President
Well,
Trump,
I
you,
think we have to respond, if I might.
please, and then I have a follow-up.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. Look, all he does is talk about shutdowns. But forget about him. His Democrat governors, Cuomo in New York, you look at what's going on in California, you look at Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Democrats all, they're shut down so tight and they're dying. They're dying. And he supports all these people. All he talks about is shutdowns. No, we're not going to shut down, and we have to open our schools. And it's like, as an example, I have a young son. He also tested positive. By the time I spoke to the doctor the second time, he was fine. It just went away. Young people, I guess it's their immune system.
Let me follow up with you, President Trump. You've demanded schools open in person and insist they can do it safely. But just yesterday, Boston became the latest city to move its public school system entirely online after a coronavirus spike. What is your message to parents who worry that sending their children to school will endanger not only their kids, but also their teachers and families?
I want to open the schools. The transmittal rate to the teachers is very small, but I want to open the schools. We have to open our country. We're not going to have a country. You can't do this. We can't keep this country closed. This is a massive country with a massive economy. People are losing their jobs. They're committing suicide. There's depression, alcohol, drugs at a level that nobody's ever seen before. There's abuse, tremendous abuse. We have to open our country. You know, I've said it often, the cure cannot be worse than the problem itself. And that's what's happening. And he wants to close down. He'll close down the country if one person in our massive bureaucracy says we should close it down.
Vice President Biden, your
Simply
response.
not true. We ought to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. We ought to be able to safely open when they need resources to open. You need to be able to, for example, if you're going to open a business, have social distancing within the business. You need to have, if you have a restaurant, you need to have plexiglass dividers so people cannot infect one another. You need to be in a position where you can take testing rapidly and know whether a person is in fact infected. You need to be able to trace. You need to be able to provide all the resources that are needed to do this. And that is
There it
not
is.
consistent with saying that what we're going to make sure that we open safely. And by the way, all you teachers out there, not that many of you are going to die, so don't worry about it. So don't worry about it. Come on.
President Trump, let me follow up with you quickly.
By the way, I will say this. If you go and look at what's happened to New York, it's a ghost town. It's a ghost town. And when you talk about plexiglass, these are restaurants that are dying. These are businesses with no money. Putting up plexiglass is unbelievably expensive, and it's not the answer. I mean, you're going to sit there in a cubicle wrapped around with plastic. These are businesses that are dying, Joe. You can't do that to people. You just can't. Take a look at New York and what's happened to my wonderful city for so many years. I loved it. It was vibrant. It's dying. Everyone's leaving New York.
Take a look at what New York has done in terms of turning the curve down in terms of the number of people dying.
They haven't done anything.
In terms of the way he does. Blue states and red states. They're all the United States. And look at the states that are having such a spike in the coronavirus. They're the red states. They're the states in the Midwest. They're the states in the upper Midwest. That's where the spike is occurring significantly. But they're all Americans. They're all Americans. And what we have to do is say, wear these masks, number one. Make sure we get the help that the businesses need that has money's already been passed to do that. It's been out there since the beginning of the summer and nothing's happened.
President, New York has lost more than 40,000 people, 11,000 people in nursing homes.
President Trump, what
when
about-
you say spike, take a look at what's happening in Pennsylvania, where they've had it closed. Take a look at what's happening with your friend in Michigan, where her husband's the only one allowed to do anything. It's been like a prison. Now it was just ruled unconstitutional. Take a look at North Carolina. They're having spikes and they've been closed and they're getting killed financially. We can't let that happen, Joe. You can't let that happen. We have to open up. And we understand the disease. We have to protect our seniors. We have to protect our elderly. We have to protect especially our seniors with heart problems and diabetes problems. And we will protect them. We have the best testing in the world by far. That's why we have so many cases.
Let me follow up with you before we move on to our next section. President Trump, this week you called Dr. Anthony Fauci, the nation's best known infectious disease expert, quote, a disaster. You described him and other medical experts as, quote, idiots. If you're not listening to them, who are you listening to?
I'm listening to all of them, including Anthony. I get along very well with Anthony, but he did say, don't wear masks. He did say, as you know, this is not going to be a problem. I think he's a Democrat, but that's okay. He said, this is not going to be a problem. We are not going to have a problem at all. When Joe says that, I said, Anthony Fauci said, and others, and many others, and I'm not knocking him a lot. Nobody knew. Look, nobody knew what this thing was. Nobody knew where it was coming from, what it was. We've learned a lot. But Anthony said, don't wear masks. Now he wants to wear masks. Anthony also said, if you look back, exact words, here's his exact words. This is no problem. This is going to go away soon. So he's allowed to make mistakes. He happens to be a good person.
Vice President Biden, your response quickly, and then we're going to move on to the next section.
My response is that think about what the president knew in January and didn't tell the American people. He was told this was a serious virus that spread in the air, and it was much worse than the flu. He went on record and said to one of your colleagues, recorded, that in fact he knew how dangerous it was, but he didn't want to tell us. He didn't want to tell us because he didn't want us to panic. He didn't want us, Americans don't panic. he panicked. I found out in the New York Times the other day that, in fact, his folks went to Wall Street and said this is a really dangerous thing. And a memo out of that meeting, not from his administration, but from some of the brokers, said sell short because we got to get moving. It's a dangerous problem.
Well, this is
I'm going
what
to give you
this
30
is what I
seconds
have
to
in-
respond, and then we're
the
going
Wall
to
Street
move
one,
on.
I don't know. Somebody went to Wall Street. You're the one that takes all the money from Wall Street. I don't take it.
I
Joe,
haven't.
you have raised a lot of money, tremendous amounts of money. And every time you raise money, deals are made, Joe. I could raise so much more money as president and as somebody that knows most of those people. I could call the heads of Wall Street, the heads of every company in America. I would blow away every record, but I don't want to do that because it puts me in a bad position. And then you bring up Wall Street. You shouldn't be bringing up Wall Street because you're the one that takes the money from Wall Street, not me. I could blow away your records that like you wouldn't believe. We don't need money. We have plenty of money. In fact, we beat Hillary Clinton with a tiny fraction of the money that she was able.
All right, gentlemen, we're going to
Don't
move
tell me
on.
about Wall
Average
Street.
contribution, $43.
All right, we're going to move on to our next section, which is national security. And I do want to start with the security of our elections and some breaking news from overnight. Just last night, top intelligence officials confirmed again that both Russia and Iran are working to influence this election. Both countries have obtained U.S. voter registration information, these officials say, and Iran sent intimidating messages to Florida voters. This question goes to you, Mr. Vice President. What would you do to put an end to this threat? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
I made it clear, and I ask everyone else to take the pledge. I made it clear that any country, no matter who it is, that interferes in American elections will pay a price. They will pay a price. It's been overwhelmingly clear.
What happened?
She muted. She muted and left us.
Wow.
I agree with what he's saying. He's a smart man.
Who was that?
Biden, look at him. He's a very intelligent man. I fully agree. If I was Trump, I would have said, "Oh, Americans don't panic. That's why when you have something bad happen, the stock market crashes and tanks, huh?
Right.
No panic."
I don't know what happened, dude.
Suni, where you at, girl? She was talking to somebody. Looked like her hubby might have showed up. Well, that sucks. You inboxing her?
No, I was trying to get my TV on to so I can
Take
watch
over.
it.
I have an appointment. I'll be right back.
Huh?
How can you take over? How can you take over?
I would have to. It'll take a few minutes. Is that what you think I should do?
That's what she said to do. Don't get mad, guys. Blame Suni. She pulled a Corey.
She pull a what?
She pulled a Corey on Jesse Lee Peterson. Hey, but I made some good chili today, though.
Did you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I killed it.
All right, Martin, I sent you the link. Thanks,
What you want me
Nicole.
to do? What you want me to do?
You got to go to your page. I sent the link to you.
It's not the one in the.
No, that one didn't pop up when I just put your name in. I was trying to do it fast.
Oh, so the one in the inbox you just sent me? No.
Yes, in your regular inbox.
Yeah. Okay.
Golly, this is terrible. I can't figure this out.
Well, I'm here. I'm gonna go into the other room now. Should I?
What the heck happened?
A little while ago, who was essentially supposed to win your family. But what he said was damning. And regardless of me, I think you have to clean it up and talk to the
What's
American
going
people.
on?
Maybe you can do it right now.
Vice President Biden, you may respond. in 30
Okay, straight
seconds.
here.
And then I do want
I-
to follow up on the election security.
I have not taken a penny from any foreign source ever in my life. We learned this president paid 50 times the tax in China, has a secret bank account with China, does business in China, and in fact is talking about me taking money. I have not taken a single penny from any country whatsoever, ever. Number one. Number two, this is a president, I have released all of my tax returns, 22 years. Go look at them. 22 years of my tax return. You have not released a single solitary year of your tax return. What are you hiding? Why are you unwilling? The foreign countries are paying you a lot. Russia's paying you a lot. China's paying you a lot. And your hotels and all your businesses all around the country, all around the world. And China's building a new road to a new a golf course you have overseas. So what's going on here? Why don't release your tax return or stop talking about corruption?
President Trump, your response.
First of all, I called my accountants, under audit. I'm going to release them as soon as we can. I want to do it, and it'll show how successful, how great this company is. But much more importantly than that, people were saying $750. I asked them a week ago, I said, what did I pay? They said, sir, you prepaid tens of millions of dollars. I prepaid my tax, tens over the last number of years, tens of millions of dollars I prepaid, because at some point they think it's an estimate. They think I may have to pay tax. So I already prepaid it. Nobody told me that.
Did your accountant
Nobody
tell you
told
when
you
you could
that.
release
Excuse
them?
me. And it wasn't written whenever they write this. They keep talking about $750, which I think is a filing fee. But let me just tell you, I prepaid millions and millions of dollars in taxes. Number one. Number two, I don't make money from China. You do. I don't make money from Ukraine. You do. I don't make money from Russia. You made $3.5 million, Joe, and your son gave you. They even have a statement that we have to give 10% to the big man. You're the big man, I think. I don't know. Maybe you're not, but you're the big man, I think. Your son said we have to give 10% to the big man. Joe, what's that all about? It's terrible.
All right, gentlemen, I want to ask you both some questions
I have to
about all of this,
respond to
but I'm going to let you both respond very quickly. You just said you spoke to your accountant
Yes.
about potentially releasing your taxes. Did he tell you when you can release them? Do you
As
have
soon
a
as the audit is
deadline for
finished.
when you're going to release
I
them to the
get
American
treated
people?
worse than the Tea Party got treated.
But
Because
you
I have a
don't
lot
have
of
a time.
people in there, deep down in the IRS, they treat me horribly. We made a deal, it was all settled until I decide to run for president. I get treated very badly by the IRS, very unfairly. But we had a deal all done. As soon as we're completed with the deal, I want to release it. But I have paid millions and millions of dollars, and it's worse than paying. I paid in advance. It's called prepaying your taxes. I paid in advance.
I want to ask you
Yep.
both about questions regarding your potential foreign entanglement and questions that have been raised to give you both a chance
Some
to
point
talk
I'll
about
respond
this
to
more
this.
broadly. Respond very quickly, and then I'll get to my question.
Why did he's been saying this for 4 years? Show us. Just show us. Stop playing around. You've been saying for 4 years
Everybody
you're going to
knows.
release your taxes. Nobody knows it, Mr. President. What they do
Okay.
know is you're not paying your taxes, or you're paying taxes that are so low. When last time he said what he paid, he said, I only pay that little because I'm smart. I know how to game the system. Come on. Come on, folks.
Very
So
quickly, President Trump, and then I want to get to two questions to both of you
Sure.
on this.
I was put through a phony witch hunt for 3 years. It started before I even got elected. They spied on my campaign. No president should ever have to go through what I went through. Let me just say this. Mueller and 18 angry Democrats and FBI agents all over the place spent $48 million. They went through everything I had including my tax returns, and they found absolutely no collusion and nothing wrong. 48 million. I guarantee if I spent 1 million on you, Joe, I could find plenty wrong, because
All
the
right.
kind of things that you've done and the kind of monies that your family has taken. I mean, your brother made money in Iraq.
Let me-
Millions of dollars. Your other brother made a fortune, and it's all through you, Joe. And they say you get some of it, and you do live very well. You have houses all over the place. You live very well.
All right, gentlemen, let me just ask
Oh,
some
man.
questions about all of this broadly. Vice President Biden, there have been questions about the work your son has done in China and for a Ukrainian energy company when you were vice president. In retrospect, was anything about those relationships inappropriate or unethical?
Nothing was unethical. Here's what the deal. With regard to Ukraine, we had this whole question about whether or not, because he was on the board, I later learned of Burisma, a company, that somehow I had done something wrong. Yet every single solitary person, when he was going through his impeachment, testifying under oath who worked for him, said, I did my job impeccably. I carried out U.S. policy. Not one single solitary thing was out of line. Not a single thing, number one. Number two, the guy who got in trouble in Ukraine was this guy trying to bribe the Ukrainian government to say something negative about me, which they would not do and did not do, because it never, ever, ever happened. My son has not made money in terms of this thing about, what are you talking about? China. I have not had, the only guy made money from China is this guy. He's the only one. Nobody else has made money from China.
Never
President
to
Trump,
deal with
let me
China.
let me
By the
ask
way,
my question to you.
But
and
could
then
I just
you'll-
one thing?
Very quickly.
His son didn't have a job for a long time, was sadly no longer in the military service. I won't get into that. And he didn't have a job. As soon as he became vice president, Burisma, not the best reputation in the world. I hear they paid him $183,000 a month. Listen to this. 183, and they gave him a $3 million upfront payment.
All right.
And he had no
I'm going to let the vice president respond to that quickly, and then I need to get to
The only
questions.
guy
to you. Very
made money
quickly.
from China. Everybody investigated that. No one said anything he did was wrong in Ukraine.
Okay, President Trump, this is for you. Since you took office, you've never divested from your business. You've personally promoted your properties abroad. Your report this week, which was referenced, does indicate that your company has a bank account in China. So how can voters know that you don't have any foreign conflicts of interest?
I have many bank accounts, and they're all listed, and they're all over the place. I mean, I was a businessman doing business. The bank account you're referring to, which is everybody knows about it, it's listed. The bank account was in 2013. That's when it was. It was opened and it was closed in 2015, I believe. And then I decided, because I was thinking about doing a deal in China like millions of other people. I was thinking about it, and I decided I'm not going to do it. Didn't like it. I decided not to do it. Had an account open, and I closed it.
Okay.
Excuse me. And then, unlike him, where he's vice president and he does business, I then decided to run for president after that. That was before. So I closed it before I even ran for president, let alone became president. Big difference. He is the vice president of the United States, and his son, his brother, and his other brother are getting rich. They're like a vacuum cleaner. They're sucking
Okay,
up money every
President Trump,
place he
thank you. We
goes.
do need to move on. I do want to ask you, Vice President Biden, about China. Let's talk about China more broadly.